Guys, Brian here with Better Chess Training, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing some tactics on Lichess. Some of you may have seen my videos doing tactics on chess.com, but I thought I'd change it up a little. Um, and I think it's a good idea because the way the servers pick their problems, Chess Tempo and chess.com and Lichess, are going to get a different mix of problems. So let's try it out. We'll see how we do. Maybe I'll just do 15 or 20 tactics. We'll see how many problems we. Okay, so here's our first one. We have it's like the rook and pawn endgame. So of course I want to. Well, I would like to promote my pawn. And what is the problem? Then he checks me. Then I should be. He has to basically give up his rook, I think. So I guess the question is there a better way to do this? Let's just look at that real quick. So h1 queen, then oh, I have the idea, I think. Um, and then rook to a1 is check. But what if I take here first? Rook takes e4 check, king takes e4, and then h1 queen comes with check. Therefore, my opponent won't be able to. I'll have a bigger advantage. And also, he'll if white declines it with example, if the rook takes e4 check, he declines it, then I can still. If he declined it, would say king to g3 or king to actually king to g3 would probably be the most challenging. But then I can play something like rook. I'd have to play rook to e1 to protect against mate, and then if he tries to take this, I would win it. So I think this is the right move. He takes it, and then I promote. Okay, so that was a nice problem there, and also it was nice because it forced me to look for a better movie. Probably, might have been sort of okay. Okay, here's another problem now, and it looks like got this. These two guys are hanging. Is there any way to take advantage of in our position here? We've got some back rank type things we could look at. And what I'm seeing here is rook to d8 possibility. The idea that rook needs to move. If he tries to protect it, this rook, then I push this pawn. That looks pretty good. Rook to d7. And I'm sorry, rook to d8. We want to keep that pawn protected. The rook has to move, and then I think I can push the pawn, and if he can't really take because of the back rank weakness. If there's any other, but there's no way to attack this rook really. I think that's my only real shot here. So rook to d8, and let's say, well, could play his knight to. He could play his knight to c5, and I think that's the idea of blocking this rook. But then they actually just push the pawn because he can't take it because of the back rank weak. I kind of like this move. Rook to d8. He's going to move back there. And I think here I can just play c2 with the threat of rook to d1. The idea there that will either win the rook, or if he takes this pawn with the knight, then I can just move my rook back to c8 and attack the pin, basically win a piece with attacking the pin knight. Or if he takes with the rook, then I take I take the rook, and if he can't take it with the back rank. Oh, push. Okay, he takes with the knight. And now the only thing I need to check here is, do I play rook to d2 or do I play rook to c8? Is there a difference? Oh, I don't even have to bother. Just take here on c2 because back rank. It's a good thing I spotted that. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, here our queen is being attacked, but we also have this check here. Got some pressure in on our king, so we need to take that into account. Calculations. Well, okay, this pawn is protected. No other real safe checks here, I think. King. And I just play knight f2 check. Let me check the material. Material wise, looks about even right now. So knight to f2 check looks really good. If he takes it, I win the exchange. If actually, before I do that, is there an even better move? Knight to g4, something like that. Attacking the queen, and then the queen doesn't have much room. In fact, that might be really nice because knight to g4, the queen can basically either go to try to go to. Oh, well, I guess the problem here is that my queen is attacked as well. So that makes me think that knight to f2 check better way. Let's try it. Okay. And was going to say it looks like I win the exchange, but it looks like I did not. Well, hold on. If I go, one is better than the other. I have to take this, the d1 rook, because my back rank is that. And that is correct. Okay, so 3 out of 3 so far. So far, so good. By the way, just in case anyone's following, my rating here on Lichess for tactics is 2278. I don't worry too much about the rating. I mean, I like seeing my rating go. The rating doesn't matter at training, trying to get better. Okay, so here, let's just take a quick look at the material. Material is about even. So what is the idea? Well, let's see here. This is interesting. We've got about materials about even, and what am I trying to do here? Well, we have this piece hanging. Maybe it's some type of attack. Or maybe. Of course, we get a little hit here with bishop takes f5, because I think, and it might be combined here because e4 by itself is met by queen takes e4. Then could play bishop takes f5, but then queen takes e rook. But bishop takes f5, and attacking the rook. My only issue there is then he could play knight 4, blockading. So let's go back to e4 real quick. E4, okay. Queen takes e4, for example. Well, queen takes e4, bishop takes c3. So instead it would be c takes d4. And then that's where we would have bishop takes f5 maybe at that point with this pin. So that's a possibility. But I'm also wondering here. Basically, if e4 can be played without losing it, then that's the move. E4, knight takes e4. Ah, then d takes f5 because now we have this pin. Because if the knight moves back to c3 to protect the bishop, then, or I'm sorry, to protect the queen, then we have bishop takes c3. So I think e4 is the answer. Let's try it. Okay, that looks good. And so he plays this knight move here, and he's going to have a nice knight, but if he ever puts it on 6, I'll just chop it off, and here I'm just going to, okay, he's going to play that. And here I think I'm just going to, well, there's a couple ways to go. Did I just take it? I think I just take it. Okay. And that's good. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Well, right off the bat, we see that got a lot of pressure here on our king. Checks. One idea is, well, we could do things here. I think I need to be very careful about this. So I need to play some forcing moves, such as one idea is bishop takes c3 check, d takes c3, knight takes c3. Oh no, knight takes c3 is not check yet, but queen takes d1 check, king takes d1, knight takes c3 check, and I win this bishop. And that's much better than something like takes d1 check, king takes d1, than say knight 2 check winning the rook because uh, c takes d7 check is the threat. So let me just make sure I have the order right. I have to play this bishop takes c3 first because the knight is pinned. Then assuming that he takes it, now if he doesn't take it, he plays something like bishop to d2, then I play bishop takes d check, and there as well. Let's try it. Okay, so far so good. Now I play queen takes d1 check, knight takes c3 check, and then I take the bishop and take on. Okay, that was a little tricky. Hey, we had to make sure we had the order right on that one. Okay, couple more. Okay, now let's see what's happened here. Well, this d2 bishop is not very happy. For anything we can, we've got queen and bishop kind of. It's not a position that would be very excited during the game. Cannot play something like bishop to c3 because queen takes d1 check. Well, rook takes d1, rook takes d1 would be checkmate. But what about bishop to e3? We wouldn't have a checkmate, but it doesn't look so great either. The idea behind that is that this rook is x-raying this queen here, but would require finding a safe way to recapture, I guess you could say. Let's see. Well, all about tempo in a way. Rook to e3. I'm seeing rook, or sorry, bishop to e3, and then if queen takes d1 check, rook takes d, rook takes d1 check, bishop to g1. Now he's threatening. Now he doesn't have time because my queen is threatening along the back rank as well. But two rooks for the queen is a heavy price to pay. Yes, question would be whether or not I could take advantage of that one tempo. So if the rook comes back, let's say the rook back here, if I have anything that is worthwhile. Let's see here. Now, if I had something that covered d1, that would. Let's see. Well, what about bishop to e1? The idea there is after queen takes d1, rook takes d1, rook takes d1, there's no tempo because the bishop's on e1 already. Then I get this check in. Basically, I'm winning queen. So I think it is bishop to e1. Bishop to e1 because queen takes d1 doesn't work anymore. Let's try that. Yep, that is it. So here he's playing here, and I am just going to take the queen. Well, that was a nice problem, actually. I like that one because it really made you think about elements behind the problem. All right, let's. Oh, actually, my tactics rating went over to 2300 here on Lichess for the first time. That was kind of neat. Do maybe one or two more. Okay, so here we've got this bishop here is what I'm seeing right away. Pretty protected otherwise. Are there any tactics that I could take advantage of? This queen is another area, another piece that I'm wondering is something I can take advantage of. But what I'm seeing actually, because I don't see any. So sometimes when you see this type of thing, you see if there's any queen moves that you can take advantage of. But what I am seeing is this bishop. Bishop looks like it's trapped. So what if I were to attack here? What is that doing? So a5, queen takes b5, then a4. Now, of course, you can't take it with the queen prize in a good idea. So bishop takes a4, and then have bishop c6 with the skewer. We're giving up these two pawns for this bishop. Is that worth it? Could be. That's one option. So a5, queen takes b5, a4, bishop takes a, bishop takes. I'm sorry, bishop to c6. Then after the queen moves, queen has to move. Probably doesn't want to go to one of either the c file or the a file, so probably would just go back to b4, for example. Then simply bishop takes e4. Then from a chess standpoint, you've got this weak pawn. I mean, there's still a lot of weaknesses looking pretty good. So before I look into that, before we play that, let me just make sure there's nothing here. Bishop to g6. The only thing I'm thinking is something like bishop to g5. And after plays e3, for example, do I have anything where I can get there. So I think A5 is the way to go. Let's try it. Okay, I failed that puzzle. Let's try. I am going to try this idea just one. Okay, that is the best move. Interestingly. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It attacks this piece, so that okay, winning a piece. So we missed that one, but that's okay. Let's try. So I had the right idea. I just didn't put together the best way of doing it. Let's take a look here. So now we've got resting here. This is hanging. The idea there. This piece is hanging. Got this pawn here. This knight is pinned the way because these squares are covered. Oh, well, here's a threat. So that's how you save the bishop. If I just play rook takes, then here, then he pins my. That would not be good. So I can play. G takes f2 check, and then if he takes f2 check, and then if he takes with the king, I get this check in here with the. That would get out of the way. But if he takes back with the rook, then that kind of he still has this rook because it's covering. Oh well, actually, this is okay. We have f takes g2 check, assuming, or g takes f2 check, and if rook takes f2, I can take here, take on e3, and if the rook comes over to try to pin me, then I just play my rook over. I think that's the solution. Let's try it. Okay, take here, and that's the idea because now he can't. Okay, let's do one more. This has been a pretty good session overall. So here we've got some interesting stuff going here. This knight is protecting. So one idea is there any way to dislodge that? So first thing I'm going to look at right now is this check. Actually, this is protecting too. This check right here. Then the king might go h8. I think is forced, unless you want to lose his queen. So knight to f6 check, king to h8. And then I have queen to h5. Interesting. Attacking attacking h7. Then if h6, do I have any follow-up here? Normally I look for some type of sacrifice. Huh. A little tricky. Knight to f6 check, king to h8. Then what about rook? Well, then we have rook takes e6. Then we have queen. Should be a kind of a stock pattern here. Knight to f6 check, king to h8. I was looking at knight takes h8, but I don't think that goes anywhere. So queen to h5 is what I was thinking. Another thought. Then if for some reason, no, I need to play it to h4 because I need to protect the knight here on f6. So knight to f6 check, king to h8, queen to h4. That doing. The idea there's some definite threats here, but then he plays h6. And do I have a follow up? That tough one. See it. Let's see if there's any follow ups after knight to f6 check, king to h8. And what if I played something like? Well, we have knight to d5 attacking the queen, but that does it. The other thought was queen to f5, again attacking h7. So now you can't play h6, and could play g6 there, or you could take on the f6, and I would just take back with check, at least win the queen, if not checkmate the king. So actually, that looks interesting. So let's go from the beginning. Knight to f6 check, knight to f6 check, king to h8, otherwise you're losing queen. Then queen to f5. Now if he takes on f6, then I just play bishop takes f6 check, forking the queen. And if he plays g6, then I have this discovery. So how would I take advantage of that? I think I would just play knight to d5 check, for example. Very least queen. I think that's the correct answer. Let's go for knight to f6 check. And let's go for 5. He takes here, take back there, and that is the solution. I think that's a good. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope that my thoughts were clear. I know sometimes I got a little confused by the positions, but that's going to happen in our games. And the idea there is to take your time and take a look at all the elements and make sure that you can figure it out. If you enjoy these types of problems where I'm solving tactics, you can check out over here a couple of my videos about solving tactics problems. And also want to point out I have been trying to be more consistent about putting out my e-newsletter, basically every 1 or 2 weeks putting out an email with some chess advice or some chess reflections. So check that out in the description down below. Otherwise, I hope you guys are doing well. I'll talk to you soon.